Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Happy Monday. So glad to have you joining me for today's Coffee Time Career Chat. Yes, super excited on this last day in February. Wow, what a month, and it's gone by so fast, so quickly. If you are joining for the very first time, welcome once again. My name is Patricia Hayes. I am an executive advisor, career empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist. And that means that I love to help professionals and entrepreneurs, particularly women, who are seeking to get their careers and their businesses to the next level, but they know that they are missing a few key ingredients, including not fully leveraging their professional relationships in an authentic way, in a purposeful way that will help them to achieve their goals. So I'm here to help them make sure they get to that point that they need to and engaging with the right people. So glad again to have you here. And as we come to the end of one month and start the beginning of another, I want to encourage and remind you that any day is a good day to get started. What do I mean? If you are looking to get started on, making a career shift, on up-leveling your professional development, on just being a better person, any day is a great day to do that. And I am here to help and assist in that matter, whether you need one-on-one coaching, some group coaching, or maybe you need a quick hit with some challenges and some mini courses. Just hit me up in the DMs. I'm happy to give you the right direction, and we can set you up and have a little chit chat, spend 20 minutes on the phone or in a Zoom call and chat about what it is you want to do next. But what I want you to do is to take action and to not think that, well, I can't do that today. Today is a good day. And that is my ongoing mantra for the remainder of the year. Today is a good day to get started. Okay. Today, we are going to be talking about engaging in the networking boomerang. So we've been talking about this month, making sure we show our network some love, right? Our professional relationships, taking a look at how we're engaging with people, what we're doing, what we're not doing. And so I wanted to finish off the series and this month by talking about why it even matters and why it's important to make sure that you are giving to others and why it's helpful to you, right? It's not about doing it for selfish reasons, but it's about the natural boomerang effect when you give and how it comes back to you. And, there's that whole old, I won't say mantra, but that school of thought about, if you give, things come back. And it's true, though, in business, in life, all of those things. But it also helps to make sure that you're giving from the right space, from the right mindset, so that you can be open to receiving, right? Not taking. That's our mantra here. We give and we receive, we don't take. And when it comes to our relationships, because here's the reality. If you send out information, sharing, contacts, referrals, ideas, opportunities, what does that set you up to receive? All of the same things. So let's talk about what that looks like. Back last month, I can still say that, back in January, I had been hedging. I think I've told this story once or twice, but I had been hedging about sending out an email to a group of leaders that I always kind of try and stay in touch with, at least maybe quarterly, 2-3 times a year. And I had not done it. I had meant to get it out in December. I did not, but I put it out and I'm like, you know what? Let's just follow through and get it out there to say Happy New Year to everyone, to say, hey, here's an update on what I'm doing. Here's what I'm available for. And hey, sometimes I just want to get on the phone and talk to some of you guys because I haven't talked to you in a while. And that's what I sent out. Within 24 hours, I had responses on that one email And that one email generated at least 2 confirmed speaking engagements because I've already done them. One paid, one lunch and learn that led to follow-up engagements. Another couple of calls of like, yes, we need to get on the phone and catch up. Let's talk about what's going on. And a couple of other, things. Those are just the ones that responded immediately within the first day to 3 or 4 days. And then I had an email glitch. So when things circle back around, and I was like, hey, in case I missed the response, please respond to this secondary email because I had a major glitch. And then that's when I found more. Here's the thing. All I was doing was staying committed to reaching out and sharing with my professional network, letting them know what I'm doing, letting them know what I'm available to help them with, and just say, hey, I just want to say hi. Let's talk. Some of us haven't talked in a while. And that is what was received. That's what was returned to me off of that one email. So think about what kind of power can be generated. What can be generated if you were to really sit down and engage in a couple of different ways with your network? Maybe it's a phone call or two. Maybe it's a Zoom coffee or in-person coffee. Maybe it's sharing some information. Think about what the potential is. And quite frankly, some of that we could never even anticipate, right? That speaking engagement that came up was as a result of someone who I've worked with before saying, oh my gosh, I don't know why I didn't think of you sooner. We have this gap in our schedule of events. Are you able to fill it in the next 3 days? Right? I could never have anticipated seeing that or that coming. But those are the types of things that show up when you show up and you are willing to engage. You are willing to put things out there. You're willing to put yourself out there on behalf of your professional relationships. Now, some people will say, oh, well, you were just trying to get some business or whatever. Yeah, but if that's all I wanted, then sending that email would not have been as big a deal. It would be like, hey, I want to, put these out here, say, if you need my help doing this, and this is what I'm going to pay. That's not my approach, right? So first of all, anyone who knows me knows that's not even how I approach my professional relationships and networks. Because I want people to know that whether you need me today or you need me 6 months from now, I'm available. And guess what? In between then, it's okay just to catch up and chat. Let me know what you're doing so that I can be prepared should something come along, right? That's a totally different approach and mindset than just sending something out there to see what you can get, right? As that's that taking mentality versus let me share. And I look forward to following up with you all, right? Different vibe, different mindset, different approach. But what you can receive in return is so extremely powerful. And that's just one engagement that I mentioned. One. So imagine the things that we can do and we can receive, and that boomerang that can happen when we give, when we share with our network on a regular, consistent basis. So a couple of 3 things, 2-3 things to remember when we're talking about engaging in this networking boomerang, right? First of all, it's super important to take time to reflect. And this is that thing that always happens, right? It's the, oh my goodness, I should. Or I wonder what would happen if, or I wonder how this person is doing, right? And so the thing that's really important is to remember to take the time to engage in that reflection. I always tease when I did a presentation a few weeks ago, I was like, yeah, some of this stuff seems woo-woo, but stick with me, right? And reflection and taking time to reflect often seems very woo-woo, seems very insignificant. But there was an article that followed up last week. I love the fact that it came out that was talking about the power and the importance of taking time to reflect, and how that there were some major business folks that literally that's what they spend a lot more of their time on, is engaging with their thoughts, taking time to work through them, as opposed to, thousands of meetings or all of that. That's not really how they work. From the outside, it looks like that, but from internally, they really approach things differently. And this is one of those things that I've always been a high supporter of, which is to take the time to reflect. What is it that you want to do? Who is it that you want to connect with? How do you want to connect with them, right? What are the things you hope to get, in the future? What are your goals? What is it you'd like to achieve? It's a better word than get. What is it you'd like to achieve? Well, in order to figure out what it is you want to achieve, in order to actually get it, guess what? You've got to put something out there so that there's something to feed on, so that there's something to grow, so that you can achieve that goal. And from a professional relationship standpoint, that means you've got to engage with people. You've got to think about who it is you should be engaging with. Who is it that may need your support right now? That will be, that can be a long-term benefit and relationship that's sustainable over time. But you only get that if you take time to reflect. The second thing is to reach out. Seems kind of obvious, right? But sometimes we have to state the obvious, is you've got to take the time to actually reach out. Now, it was really interesting. I was looking at a colleague's post recently, and they were talking about starting and engaging in this kind of coffee chat challenge, which I love coffee chats. So I'm like, hey, I'm up for it. And the responses that were below it were really interesting. Now, granted, the challenge was pretty significant, right, as far as the number, because if you just look at the number, it looks like a lot. So that could be pretty frightening to people. Even very extroverted folks would be like, that seems like a lot of time. But when you broke it out, it's really like 2 chats a week. Now, here's the interesting part. The interesting part was where there were folks who were like, yeah, I can't do that. I think I can only manage, 1 or 2 a month, right? Now, here's the thing. How often are we getting on the phone randomly or engaging in a Zoom call randomly with someone just to say, oh my gosh, I need this. I wonder if I can, can we get on the call because I need to talk about this piece of the project? We're probably doing that. Most of us, if you're still working in a regular, nonprofit, corporate, state government job, whatever, you're probably doing that all day long. So here's the thought. What if you were to do that once a week just to connect with someone, to say, hey, how are you doing? Because what we're not thinking about is sometimes those business calls start off as catch-up conversations, right? You may spend 5 or 10 minutes at first kind of catching up before you talk about business. Guess what? That counts. And so a lot of times what we build up in our heads about reaching out and engaging is way more complicated than we need to make it. Because it's literally about reconnecting with people on a regular basis. There are some people we talk to every day. There are others we talk to once a week, twice a month, go on and on. Whatever the natural flow is for that relationship. And what I want to encourage you all to do is to think about it in those terms, not in terms of, oh, I don't have time. Well, if you've got 5 minutes a day, 15 minutes a week, you have time. And, I like to, it's one of those things I always just say with my kids, and I still say, there are 24 hours in a day. There are 7 days in a week. Surely you can find 15 minutes to do X. And in this case, it's to reach out to people in your professional network that either need strengthening, you need to reconnect with, or even if it's new people that you want to build a relationship with. But it doesn't happen if you don't reach out. It's just the reality of it. You can't achieve the goal without taking the action that is going to be necessary to get there. That's just plain and simple the way it is, right? So make sure you reach out. The third piece to engaging in this networking boomerang and making it effective for you is to respond. Again, another obvious thing. But one of the things that becomes easy to let slide is someone actually, gives you a response, right? So the boomerang comes back and you don't throw it back out. Well, that just defeats the whole purpose. You want to make sure to respond. I always say the gold is in the follow-up. And in this piece, in this discussion, when that comes back to you, making sure you send it back out, that you say, so great to hear from you, or I'm sorry, we can't get together right now. Let's plan on making it happen in a couple of weeks, whatever. And then tracking that, right? It may take a little bit of effort, but it's always worth it. When you do that response, imagine if I had not responded to any of those emails that came through, or those communications, because it came in all kinds of different formats. DMs, it came in the emails, it came in Facebook messages. It was just all over the place. But imagine if I had not responded to any of those. It would be really easy to say, oh, well, that email was a fail because, I didn't hear from anybody. No, it wasn't that I didn't hear from anyone. They responded. The question is, did I go looking for the response and then respond again? Okay. So I want you to think about that when you're moving forward, as you're looking to, to expand your network, to expand the depth of your professional relationships. We're going to have to talk about that sometime, because sometimes people still think it's about how many people you're connected with, when it's not about that. It's much more about the depth of the relationships that you already have. But so make sure that you are engaged in reflection, that you're reaching out, and that you're responding, so that you can make that boomerang effort worth your while. And guess what? It works both ways. It helps those in your network. It helps your professional relationships to grow and deepen. And it helps you as you take the next step to achieving those goals and dreams that you have set for yourself. Okay? So would love to hear from you on this. Let me know what you're thinking. Let's set up some time to chat. If we haven't chatted in a while, hit me up in the DMs and messages, and let's see if we can get things on the schedule. And, as always, lots of great things going on. But seriously, if you are looking to up-level your the things that you're doing in your approach, and you need some coaching, then let's get on the phone and talk about what it is that you might need help with to get you to where you need to be. All right. So if that's it, thank you so much for joining me this morning, and I look forward to talking to you. Have a fantastic week, everyone. Bye-bye.